Using the ancient weapons, the party was able to send the cult of Zoro running, but not before Octavia caught a glimpse of her quarry, Onyx Eye. They were unable to apprehend him, however, and were instead offered a position at the collective, provided they can pass the initial trials to enter. However, all is not as it seems, for there is something that the party does not expect. I am the Ethernaut, and welcome to the Etherlog, the key to Vidra.
Welcome back to Session 2 of the Etherlog. My name is Sam Comerford, and I am your Ethernaut. I am your Ethernaut? I guess it's possessive. I'm everybody's Ethernaut, I guess. Welcome back to another exciting episode, I hope. I mean, I can't really state that it's going to be exciting because I can't tell the future, but I'm hoping it will be. With me, as always, is our fantastic cast, -1. So, say hi, Fantastic Cast -1.
Hi, Fantastic Cast -1.
Fantastic cast.
Thank you,
-1.
Matt. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately, Chrissy is not here, but we got a reason for that. So, fun fact about our little band of misfits. They all leveled up last session. I don't believe I mentioned that, so our party's now level 2. Which gives us some cool features that, I mean, we could go into, but, like, you know, it would take forever for everyone to kind of be like, oh, I can do a bonus action to hit now. You know, whatever. Just tell me when we get there. But I think the only one who it really is different for is, I think, Matt, because you multi-classed, correct?
Yes. I'm switching into fighter.
Interesting. Yeah, see, this is the kind of stuff we do want to talk about on a podcast, because if you get ambushed, like, oh yeah, I'm going to use Second Wind, you're like, are you a monk? How is this? Yeah. But anyways, party, more powerful now.
Deuces.
Very cool. Deuces. The double trouble. And we last left our party on a cart, and we, the audience, zoom in to the back of the cart where we see Octavia, and we switch to the perspective of the rest of the party, and I think Dashi would be closest. Dashi, you've noticed Octavia hasn't said anything in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Can I look over at her? I see? Yeah, I just want to look and see what's up with her.
She seems to be sitting very straight backed. Just almost like her back is fully, completely erect, and she hasn't moved in a while.
Are her eyes open?
You go to check and you see her eyes are closed. And you notice that as you're watching her, every couple of seconds, she'll just spasm. So, I mean, realistically, you can't check for breathing or a pulse, but she's definitely not dead, but she doesn't seem to be responding to any sorts of stimuli.
I think I'd probably yell to the front, because Gail's in the passenger seat, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Gail, is this normal? Octavia's just sitting still and also having muscle spasms at the same time. That seems strange. I know she doesn't breathe, so I'm not worried about. She's still alive, whatever that means. But is this normal? This looks not normal.
Gil's going to swivel in the passenger side, just over his shoulder. Just, Dave, you all right back there?
No response. This has never happened before.
Kind of just. Is there space back there for me to just kind of like leap?
Yeah, you can hop into the back of the cart if you'd like.
All right. Yes, I'll just as gracefully as I can just do that without disturbing anyone and give her a once over.
Yeah, you notice that her veins seem to be blacker than usual. Almost like how Drake's arm looks when he rages. Like her body just has these crisscrossing lattices of what looks to be key crystal. But does she look healthy? No, absolutely not.
Well, she doesn't normally.
No, typically that is not how she looks. But she looks
Very pallid.
less healthy. Well, yeah. She somehow looks gaunter than usual. Like it would be impossible, right, for her to be this thin in a matter of really hours, but it's kind of noticeable almost. It's weird.
I'm going to just kind of gesture to make some room and see if we can lie her down.
Yeah. You lie her down, and you can see that her like brow will like furrow sometimes in frustration or something. Like she's experiencing something. You're not sure what it is though, and you can't seem to wake her.
Yeah, so I'll just keep trying to I'll speak to her and just Tavia, why don't you wake up, sing us a song, do something. For someone who doesn't have a heartbeat, this is always so frustrating.
Astrid calls from front. What's going on? What's the issue?
It seems our companion is in some sort of undead trance or stupor.
Perhaps she communed with the spirits of the dead one too many times, and they claimed her.
Well, that would be a really bad way to start a career. Shit. Reborn. Listen, this is not my area of expertise, but I know someone back in Promundus who might be able to help, but it's a stretch in hell, I'm not really sure.
Well, can we get there any faster?
We can certainly try. We are gonna have to stop somewhere for supplies at some point, but yeah, I think we can probably manage it. And she kind of prods the horses to go a little bit faster.
All right, I'm gonna try to make Octavia comfortable, and I'm just trying to box her in with packs so she doesn't roll out of the cart or anything like that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna make you a check for that. You just kind of prop her head up and whatnot, do just typical medical stuff. She doesn't respond to any of this. She seems oddly stiff, corpse-like even, but she's going through something, and it's concerning because you've never seen this happen in the time you've been traveling with her.
All right then. So yeah, I guess I'll try to keep an eye on her, but if she doesn't change, then I'll turn my attention to the road because that's also pressing.
Yeah. As you guys continue to sort of travel, the day just whittles away slowly. I mean, there's not much to do while you travel. Various small talk, but I mean, otherwise, not much. However, as night begins to dawn, you notice something on the horizon. And anyone who's seeing this can make a... what would this be? I honestly don't know what check this would be. History, probably, I think?
Athletics?
History or Arcana? Athletics. You wanna flex? You wanna flex at the horizon?
We're looking at the horizon. I want to jump straight up in the air so I can see farther along the horizon.
I'm gonna try acrobatics and cartwheel at the sun.
Yeah.
So,
Drake multiclasses into divination wizard, and the portent is just flexing until he kind of like loses a bit of like blood
Just
in his head so he can see the future.
isometric exercises.
Yes. What do we get on history?
I got an 8.
8? Nice.
I got a
This is-
14.
14? Okay.
history's my jam. I have a 17.
All right. Gale, you actually the first one to clock this. It's this pink kind of spot on the horizon. It glows pretty brightly, almost to the point where you would think it was a star if it were up in the sky. But you know this is the city of Magentium. It is one of the 3 floating cities of Vidra, and it's the one that's apparently closest to you because you can see it on the horizon. That's just kind of exuding this magenta aura.
Interesting. Is there any chance that like as these floating islands, these floating cities approach, they have like an aura around them, like maybe like some magical presence or something like that, like we maybe expect as we continue to travel closer?
You can definitely, as you get when you're underneath one of the cities, it glows whatever color it's associated with, which is typically just in the name of the city.
There you go.
It lights up the ground underneath it in a similar fashion. So if you're under Magentium, it's going to be pink all around you. However, going under floating cities is typically not advised, or at least staying under them for a long period of time, because the force that keeps them up can make you get headaches, can make you dizzy, because you're just kind of standing under this floating thing nobody really understands. But yeah, it has kind of this aura that just projects a bunch of light. And you would know with a 17, Magentium is specifically the arcane city. Like, it's full of wizards, artificers, what have you, researchers. And there's a shield wall that has been built that kind of is generated by these arcane generators that other cities are trying to replicate, but can't. So that is something you would know about the city. But Astrid finally clocks it and says, it's been a minute since I've seen one of those.
City of Mages
Yes.
looms on the horizon.
Well, it actually will probably outpace us, but if we do catch up to it, I'll try to avoid it. Just considering the disposition of the people on the city. But yeah,
Yes.
never actually never been on one. Have you guys ever been on one of the cities?
One of
Must
the
have.
floating cities? No.
Yeah.
Probably the Druid one, at least once.
Okay.
I've been
Nice.
around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, when you're part of the Order of Grief Domain Clerics, we, our headquarters is on one of those, and we've made some diplomatic missions to the other cities. Although I can say Magentium, you're right, they don't quite like us, shall we say, faithful types.
Yeah, you would actually know, Dashi, that there is a sect of clerics that lives on Magentium, and they're knowledge clerics. They're arcana knowledge clerics, and they research for their god, essentially. Does that mean the mages like them? Absolutely not. No.
It's I think it's like easier for the knowledge and then also grief domain clerics to sort of get along with them because our loyalty isn't exactly to a godlike figure. So I think the grief clerics may not have many allies on Magentium, but we might have some.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. They don't really tend to hold grudges. They are too caught up in research really to do that. One thing you would know about, they're called the Cytheran monks, because they worship Cythera, who is the goddess of magic and technology and progress. Their kind of Pope-esque figure is a lich that is called the Divine Lich Arcos, and they have been alive for just a hot minute, and they claim to be the mouthpiece of this god that nobody has ever seen. So yeah, that's what you would know about the clerics on this more arcane island. It's definitely between the three islands, the most touristy and well-liked one is definitely Dysan, which is the druidic island because it is known for its casino. People absolutely love Dysan. But yeah, that's what you guys would just kind of know in terms of the cities. And you know that they correspond to the three moons, which are similarly colored. So you see that the two moons in the sky right now are Flavus and Ceruleus, which are the yellow and cyan moons, respectively. So you've got a very kind of colorful night sky at the moment. And which is typical for this planet, but I mean, if you were one of us, the players, it would be pretty. But yeah, as the hours have worn on, Octavia has not gotten better. You think if she could, she would probably be sweating in some capacity. This seems almost feverish to you, Dashi, I will say, considering you are a cleric and you would kind of just know this stuff a little offhand. It's concerning because it doesn't seem like anything you've ever seen or healed in your entire lifetime. Granted, there are very few reborn in existence, so this is uncommon.
Gotcha. I think while we're like riding along, I'd probably... So I have a book of a couple ritual spells that I may have liberated from some place on a place I've been, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay.
But I so that's where my familiar is from. And, you know, I've cast Find Familiar, so I have my vulture, or bearded vulture on Wii. But my other spell that I've picked up from this feat is Detect Magic. And I'd like to cast it as a ritual as we're going along, and, you know, maybe try to get some insight on what is going on with Octavia. I'm not super smart, but I know that spells can help with certain things.
Yeah. First of all, you got this Detect Magic book from one of the Cytheran monks when you were kind of on, I'm not gonna say pilgrimage, but just your trips to these various cities. You traded some various spells and whatnot in exchange for this knowledge. So I'll say you have a contact in Magentium, who is a Cytheran monk. But yeah, you cast Detect Magic on Octavia, and obviously you get a lot of, necromancy.
Yeah.
You know, just
Right.
that kind of tracks.
There's a lot going on there.
A lot going on there. But you also, there's this energy to Octavia that can't be categorized into one of the schools. It's just this raw power that seems to kind of overwhelm even the necromantic bit. And it's like this pure, like, pulsating white that seems to kind of wrap around itself. You don't really know what this is. Again, it doesn't fall into any of the schools that you could identify, but it's something, and it's kind of spooky because typically you're able to categorize this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what you see in Octavia, and yeah, I'll give this to you. Go ahead and roll an Arcana check with advantage.
Ooh, advantage with my -1.
Yeah, I can help.
Yeah. And maybe I'll even spend DM inspo if this gets high enough.
Yeah.
It does not. That is the higher of the two is a 5. I rolled a 6 and a 3 on the die. I have a -1 intelligence.
Yeah, you don't know jack about shit. This is some crazy magic.
Yeah,
This isn't your
I
field
know.
of expertise.
The monks, the Scythian monks showed me how to do the ritual casts for some of these. They didn't tell me what it means though.
Yeah. I'm looking at the little guidebook and
Yeah,
I'm
none
not
of these are showing
seeing-
up. I'm not seeing this on my tables that I have in this book.
right.
This is pretty spooky stuff. This is weird. I don't have enough knowledge to figure this out.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, you always can ask somebody you think might. I mean, Promundus is a pretty big city.
Mhm.
So if you're curious and I mean, I guess want to go behind Octavia's back, then that door's open for you. As night continues to fall and the horizon goes from this shade of orange to a purple to a black of the night sky, and the lights of the 2 moons above you and the city in the distance kind of dominate the area. It's probably time you should at least take a bit of a rest somewhere. Because, I mean, you can continue switching shifts for driving and whatnot, but at some point, it gets tiring. So Astrid at least suggests, like, listen, if we could take a bit of a rest, not even for 8 hours, just a little bit. I personally need to catch my breath. We've been driving all day. And if y'all don't mind, I also need to use the bathroom. So, yeah.
Go piss, girl.
Okay, thank you for the permission. And she kind of hops down out of the seat and starts walking into the woods. What's everybody's passive perception?
16.
16. That's pretty good.
13.
13?
12. But
Wow.
I think I would make the argument that that Drake is kind of alert and, just wandering away into the woods. He might say something like, get out of sight, but stay within earshot.
Yeah, I don't want to be, like, eaten by, like, a lumber wolf or anything like that. That would be a pretty bad way to go. I mean,
No.
death by taking a piss, that is, for an adventurer, that's kind of sad, I think. It'd be a kind of a sad way to go. So I don't want that on my tombstone. So yeah, I'm just gonna, and she just kind of like walks behind some trees. Dashi, you hear a clink on the side of your cart.
Where is it in relation to where I am?
I'm gonna say it's kind of like right behind you because you're sitting on kind of one of the benches in the cart. It's like behind you.
I'll turn around and look at it.
You spin around and you see what looks to be like a small humanoid. And they currently have a bag full of some of your rations. And they look at you kind of frozen in fear.
Hey, do you need help? You could ask for help.
This small humanoid isn't like a gnome or halfling. It's clearly a child, or at least a tween-age person. And she looks up at you, and you see that her eyes seem to take in a lot of light, like almost in an animalistic fashion. And if you'd like, you can roll either nature or history.
They're both the same. So I'll roll history. We're just feeling the history today.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the rest of you now know there is somebody here. So you can also make checks because you are aware of this person. who isn't even trying to run away. They just look frozen in terror.
I got a 2.
You got 2. This is a girl.
Oh.
You think? Yeah.
17.
She's. What's that?
17 history.
17. I would even give you advantage specifically.
Oh.
Yeah.
20.
20.
Dirty 20.
Drake?
16.
Okay. Both of you. This is surprising for Drake.
I've been around.
Both of you. Well, not even the role. It's just for me. It's surprising that you know this. This girl is a lycanthrope. Her eyes take in a lot of light because she is animalistic. And the reason why she's kind of trying to stay out of sight is because lycanthropes typically avoid civilization. Specifically, Gale, you have read a bit about this topic, and there is a community of them near the South Pole, because you know that lycanthropes, there are 3 moons, so they are affected differently by each moon. So their powers and their abilities are different depending on the light of which moon hits them at a given point.
Mm-hmm.
And they're typically always in control, but one thing that's odd is that key crystal is very bad for them. It turns them into these kind of feral beasts. It corrupts them very deeply. So this girl with a 20, you can tell she's trying to get in and get out quick because she doesn't want to stay near people who might have key crystal on them, because I mean most people do. And she looks very fearfully at Drake specifically.
There's nothing for you to fear, Beastborn. Can your pack not hunt? Must you steal?
I'm alone. She looks at you like with these wide eyes. Like, I mean, you've seen people afraid of you, like in battle and whatnot, because you can throw 2 spears at the same time. It's pretty crazy.
It's pretty
This is different. This is not a fear of your appearance. It's not a fear of who you are. It's like she's vibe checking you and is just disgusted with your vibes.
Don't
Like your
pass the
your
vibe
vibes
check.
are atrocious.
Oh.
Oh man.
You
and
hate to see it.
I'll give me a perception check.
Yeah.
I'll let you do it with advantage
Sweet.
because you rolled
sweet.
very well on that other check.
Perception. At advantage. That's an 11.
An 11.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very high DC anyways. So
Okay,
you're good. You notice her eyes are flicking to your hand quite a bit. I mean, and by hand, I mean the one that's fucked up.
Right.
And she also kind of like peeks in the back of the cart and like recoils when she sees Octavia.
When I notice her looking at my hand, I say, "It's an old injury, pup. Nothing for you to fear." And I kind of like slowly get over the side of the cart and crouch down to look at her eye level, look at her from her eye level, as I'm also kind of scanning the tree line, you know,
Yeah.
just in case, just in case.
Just in case.
He's one of these
Give
wily.
me a perception check.
You got it.
Oh yeah.
See if I can roll over a 10 this time. I
Gale is
cannot.
poised with his spear.
It's a 6.
It's a 6. You're kind of focused on this girl who kind of is backing away from you, and she says, "You both reek of darkness," and she is not even taking in Dashi and Gale at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They are just not even in this situation. And the fact that Octavia isn't really moving seems to calm her a bit. But you are a threat. She is kind of like backing up from you. Warily, she still has the rations in her hands. And she, you notice on her belt is this little kind of just hunting knife.
Yeah.
So
I say, Darkness is not of itself to be feared, small one. It's the things that seek to hide themselves there. I have nothing to hide, so you have nothing to fear. You can take the food and be gone if you wish, or you could tell us more. Perhaps, as the small one said, there is the other small one, that is. There is something we could do to help you.
It's not that I think you're evil, but it's what do you call it? The black stone. I don't know what its name is, but you reek of it, and it makes me do bad things, and that's why I'm heading south.
You have the touch of the beast. Does that make you a beast? I have perhaps a touch of darkness, but that does not make me of the darkness.
I can't, I'm sorry, and she just kind of puts, the food on the ground, and just starts to just kind of skulk back into the forest warily.
Take the food at least, child.
She kind of looks at you warily as she, grabs the rations, and kind of scampers, into the forest.
Did you see the way she looked at us warily? There's a joke there, I think, somewhere.
I do what I can. As you're saying this, Astrid steps back on the road and says, did I miss something?
Drag is picking up strays.
Oh?
Better get out of here before it comes back.
Could I tell what kind of lycanthrope or were creature the little girl was?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me either nature or survival. I'll allow you to advantage because you did roll a nice, sexy 16 on that.
I'll take that shot too.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
At
You can do nature or survival.
advantage. That's a 19 at advantage.
19.
17.
Okay. Then you both pass this check. She seems to be, and it's weird, like almost part armadillo. Or something, like that's the closest animal I can think of in terms of from our world to this world. Like her back seemed to like bulge a little bit. And whenever she got defensive, she kind of would like crunch up a little bit. As if to like kind of roll into a ball and like kind of get this natural armor. So yeah, not a very common type of lycanthrope, but
I'll take a couple more rations from the back. And is there anything like a cloak or anything laying back there?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, you can have an extra cloak.
So I'll wrap them in a cloak, maybe even put a few brights in there, and just kind of toss it towards the brush. And hop back in the cart.
Astrid looks back in the cart and says, hey, where did 5 days of rations go?
Think of it as community outreach.
Huh.
Hearts and minds.
Okay.
Hearts and minds.
All right. Well, we're gonna need to get some more then at some point. I guess it's on the collectives tab. And she kind of snaps the reins as the horses begin to move forward, deeper into the night and farther south towards Promundus. The days begin to blur into each other. It's a lot of the same. Ride, go to the bathroom when needed, eat, sleep, check on Octavia, repeat. It's really not that eventful until it's probably about 1 in the afternoon. Most likely the 4th or 5th day you've been out. And you hear a piercing scream come from the gray. As onto the road stumbles a woman missing her arm and bleeding profusely.
No.
Dashi would probably jump out and try to get some healing or attempt to approach, I guess.
She's kind of squirming around. Says, please help me. I've been this is horrible. There's this pack of lumber wolves in the woods, and they surprised me, and and she's crying, not looking good. She seems to be wearing kind of rags. And you can hear her kind of murmur, like asking to take her to the next town. She's in a bad way.
He's probably gonna go into shock in a second.
Yeah, I think I'd probably try to, the first phrase that came to mind was, do medicine to her? I mean, I want to staunch the bleeding. I want to staunch the bleeding using, some cloth or whatever from the back of the thing and try to attend to her wounds. And sort of I guess look over at Astrid and see what she's doing with the cart, since we're
Astrid
all
has
traveling together.
fully stopped the cart. She says, is she missing an arm?
Yeah, we have to help her right now, or else she's gonna bleed out, go into shock, and almost certainly die. And I just start wrapping up or putting pressure on the wound. Somebody get me some clean cloth, some linens or something. We'll wrap this up. She's gonna die.
I think as this discussion is happening, Drake has drawn his weapons and put himself between the wounded woman and the tree line where these lumber wolves might be.
Yeah, Drake, I'm not even gonna make you make a check for this.
Well.
You know what lumber wolves are for sure. Lumber wolves are spooky because they are not only large, but they have these bark-like skins almost, they're like hide, that allows them to basically just climb on trees and blend into them and then just drop on people and just flatten them. So they do not fuck around. They are very scary, and it's an absolute miracle that this woman has managed to escape them. Because typically lumber wolves don't leave survivors. But Drake, you don't see any, as far as you can tell.
All right. And the woman, we can see the bone sticking out and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You can see kind of the shoulder bone is kind of sticking out a little bit. And she's like, and her eyes kind of focus on you, Dashi. She says, "Cleric?"
Yeah.
Her eyes
Stay still.
Her eyes kind of unfocused. Is like, heal. And she points to kind of her stump.
Yeah, I'm actually going to use not my cleric skill, but my Azamar skill of healing hands over the wound, and I'm gonna attempt to heal her for 2d4. Just try to close up the wound at least so it's not bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think I can fix it, obviously, but just to stop the bleeding, I'm gonna use this ability. That's 4 hit points of healing.
Nice.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean her arm doesn't grow back because that's
Right. No, of
magic
course. I just want to.
I know.
Stop the bleeding.
Yeah. The skin kind of folds over the stump, as if it's been long amputated. And she kind of like breathes a little bit less. She's clearly still in pain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But she says, I need to get to the next town.
Why are you out here? How did you get so far from town?
Checking traps. Had a horse. Gone.
Well, we should get you out of here, I think. Right? I look over at the other two, like Gale and Drake.
Yeah, I hop back in the car and start making room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She kind of sits on the bench next to Drake and kind of like holds her stump with this kind of it's not quite shock. You lucked out, I think, that she didn't get that far, but she's still kind of like moving her hand over like this ghostly place. And Astrid's like, all right, we gotta get a fucking move on. And she drives the horses forward. And you guys churn forward for probably about 15 minutes before out into the road steps a half-orc. And this half-orc wields two very large shurikens. And he says, all right, why don't we stop the car?
Can I do insight, or like, what's my passive insight? My passive insight is 16.
Then I'll give this to you. He seems intent on doing
bandit,
bad things to you.
Yeah.
And you have passive perception of 16. You see in a second something else steps behind the cart. And as you turn, Dashi, it's this kobold wielding this what looks to be a shoulder-mounted cannon of sorts. And before you can react, it launches something, and it hits this woman. And she stumbles over. She's like, oh no. And she
In the
turns.
cart?
In the cart. And she turns to all of you, now with a fully mechanical-looking hand with a grin, and says, yeah, you're getting robbed.